The Red Light Scrambler Series heads to Kentucky for another 90 laps here on the last race of the regular season. It's going to be quite interesting to see what plays out. 90 laps here are in store, or are ahead, I should say, for this race. And we're going to see who is in and who is out after this. Top 12 drivers make it into the chase, or the playoffs, I should say. Well, let's find out here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Welcome to Kentucky. So, welcome to Kentucky. A 90-lap race is here in store for tonight's race. 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. Pretty much everyone has qualified at this point. It's going to be, again, another just a quite interesting race. We're going to be racing into the sunset here as well, or should I say into the night, if I can properly, if I can learn how to properly tell time here. And that would also be absolutely wonderful. But other than that, again, looking forward to is going to be again just another interesting race here for tonight. We're going to see who makes it in and who doesn't. At least 5 drivers that I believe are here are out, but a little bit of a note as well: drivers that are already in before this race, that are in on points, in the top 12 on points. Before this race, they are labeled in green on the ticker. Drivers that are not in this race beforehand are labeled in red. So we're going to be looking to see how many drivers in red, so that their names will be labeled in. We're going to see how many drivers can really make it into this race. There's a few drivers that are really close on points as well. And once again, we're going to figure out all of that here in just a few moments' time. 1 minute, 20 seconds left in qualifying. And it's 16 drivers for this race, so a lot of drivers opting out to just say, well, you know what, we're going to let the playoff drivers and some of the drivers that are out race this race. Interesting fact is that Sean Butler has won pretty much pretty much the past, what was it, 6 races at this point? Pretty much the past 6 races at this point, but he is on a roll. He is not going to let go of that anytime soon. As per usual, I am the air quote one and only Gary Weaver, bringing you the commentary and production as per usual. Looking forward to another to an interesting 90-lap race. A little bit of an update to the ticker as well, if you haven't been here on Thursday with us, or me in this case, but either way, same difference. As you can see, the font is different. We have dropped the He's Dead Jim font for at least the ticker, just to make that easier to read. We still have that font for the rest of the graphics, since personally I'm used to it. So I figured, well, you know what, might as well keep it for a while, since the ticker is usually the most important thing to read. Sean Butler, once again, won the past 6 races, and I don't doubt that he's going to stop anytime soon. Checkered flag is out. 40 seconds remain in qualifying for drivers to really try and figure out what the heck they're going to do for qualifying. As far as drivers that are outside of the top 12 and are really close, the farthest driver, I should say, is 94 points out, which is, if I can do math off the top of my head here, which I cannot. There's 5 drivers that are close to make it in. And, Kevin O'Brien's the last driver. He's 1 point up on the being in. So 16 points separates 12th place from the final driver that is the closest. So we have Joshua Buckley, Patrick Orr, Christopher Rothrock, Brendan Minto, and Tony Strano. They're the last 5 drivers on the outside looking in. 13th through 16th. If I could read that correctly. 13th through 17th, actually. So they're going to be the 5 drivers labeled in red to keep an eye on throughout this race. Drivers that are in: Sean Butler, Tim Blum, Max Terrio, Eric Johnson, DJ Anderson, James Skelton, Richard Murdoch, William Long, Kyle Souza, Leo Bordage, Ryan O'Donnell, and as previously mentioned, Kevin O'Brien. So qualifying is over, and we're going to find out who places where in the starting grid.
All right, guys, thanks for coming up.
As the race control there for a little bit. We have on your starting grid, Tim Blum has knocked off Sean Butler off of the front row for once. He starts in the first place position. Sean Butler starting in second. Remember the last time Tim Blum knocked off Sean Butler off the top, off the pole, was at Lime Rock on week 3. But unfortunately, Tim Blum had finished, I believe, in second in that race. So it's going to be interesting to see what these two can do on here at Kentucky in the Xfinity cars as well. Second row holds Richard Murdoch, who is actually in a different vehicle this time. He's not in his usual black and flame car. Now that he's finally got tray and paints, he's actually in a different car now. So he's going to be starting in the third place alongside Max Terrio, who starts in fourth place. Fifth place holds James Skelton in the top 5. He runs out the top 5. Eric Johnson in the 33 starts in the 6th place position. 7th place is DJ Anderson. He starts 7th in the 51. Ryan O'Donnell starts in 8th. 9th place is Joshua Buckley. Rounding out your top 10 is the 4 of Kyle Souza. Brendan Minto starts in 11th. 12th place, Patrick Orr. 13th is Andy Lee. 14th, William Long. 15th, Leo Bordage. And rounding out your 16-car field here for this week is Kevin O'Brien. So as the field makes their way under pacing, we're going to see what happens here at Kentucky for 90 laps in this race. Pace car about to pull off the racetrack and give the control over to the number 10 of Tim Blum off the field. And into pit road goes the pace car. In control is Tim Blum in the number 10. Getting ready to go green for the last regular race of the season. Green flag is out. We are underway for 90 laps at Kentucky. And already with a outside start with the help of Max Terrio on the top side, it is Tim Blum into the lead. And Terrio, remember, we've seen Terrio, oh man, as Tim Blum peeks to the inside, we've seen Terrio get ever so close a few times. The only time he's actually won in this series was the first race of the season in the Cup cars at Charlotte. But in the meantime, Sean Butler, with essentially your first lead change of the day, he takes over the lead. You can see Minto is outlined in red, same with Patrick Orr, a few other drivers. Leo Bordage outlined in the regular color of white. Rothrock outlined in red. O'Brien outlined in green. As hello, my goodness, DJ Anderson somehow, some way saves that on the back straightaway. Top 3 is already spread out, so we're going to focus here on the back portion of your field. I should say the middle portion, as DJ Anderson just gets in front of the 01 of Murdoch. Murdoch probably is not going to appreciate that too much, but he's going to peek to the inside anyways, as Skelton is on the inside. Anderson top side, Skelton just up ahead of them. Here comes Eric Johnson. Joshua Buckley in a different paint scheme this week as well. Kyle Souza and Ryan O'Donnell, they battle side by side. That's for 9th place on the field. We could have a good chance of having a green flag run here for this race. As it looks like DJ Anderson has gotten past. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, Johnson top side. May say otherwise about that, so he'll shove Murdoch down into 7th position. As Brendan Minto tries to work over Kyle Souza. On the top side comes that 20 of Minto. Trying to find a way around the number 4 of Souza, who is again in on points, as opposed to Brendan Minto, who is not even close to being in. Hopefully the ticker should be correct this time around, and it is. Apologies for that. The ticker was displaying incorrectly for a few moments. I was looking at the field, and I was thinking, well, something is incorrect here. So Brendan Minto gets around Kyle Souza on the top side for position 10 for the time being. But Souza's not going to let him go, and unfortunately I'll have to back off there. That's Andy Lee in the 25 directly behind him. We haven't seen him much. As far as your front runners go, well, it's still Sean Butler in front, in control, as per usual. Look at that. The 42 starts to sneak to the inside. Will he go to the inside fully? He will not. He opts out. Decides that it's too early on as we ride along board the 10 of Tim Blum. No other ballots going around the racetrack. 17 car field, actually. Kevin O'Brien, a late entry, I believe. Actually, no, he started last, so apologies for that. You can see how close the 42 is on the back bumper, the 88 down the back straightaway, but he's not really going to make a move. This could essentially just be end up being just a one-stop race. And apologies for the graphic issue. It's actually race 8 of 15, not 12 or 16. Our top 12 drivers after this will advance in the playoffs. We're not sure if the points will be updated 100% by the time we're done with the broadcast or over with the post-race interviews, but we'll see what we can do after that. Meanwhile, for the lead, finally, once again, at the start-finish line, could have been Terrio. We'll find out. No, it was Sean Butler. But finally, well, maybe not crossover from the 88 is going to be coming off turn number 2 here. They fly down the back straightaway. And Terrio could finally be in the lead for the first time in a while, actually. Or should I say leading the race for the first time in a while? Well, actually, no. He's in line to win for the first time in a while. Is it way too early on? Well, of course it is. There's 80 laps to go in this race now. So it's way too early on to assume that Terrio could sneak away with a win here. As you see, Buckley is in front of O'Donnell. And Ryan O'Donnell coming into this race as 13 points ahead of said cut line. The proverbial cut line that we can't really display as a graphic. Aside from that, though, Max Terrio is finally taken away with the lead here at... Well, nope, spoke too soon. He barely scraped the outside wall there off turn number 2. A bit of a side-by-side battle between Brendan Minto, it looked like, and soon to be... Well, actually, maybe Andy Lee was directly on top of his back bumper, pushing him through the corners. Not exactly the best move to do. Especially if you're Brendan Minto, trying to say, hey, what are you doing? I'm trying to get into the playoffs here. You're not even anywhere close to the playoffs. So you see Souza is now ahead. And here comes the 12 of William Long on the inside. You can see a little bit of the update from the iRacing build. The majority of the field now, unless you're the 981 of Patrick Orr, majority of the field now has the modern... a few drivers actually have the modern Xfinity banners. Some are stuck with the old banners. Some don't even have any banners. Let's see if we can get a shot of that on William Long. You can see the Xfinity logo on the left side. There it is. Name on the right-hand side. 981 does not have that. It's not required in this league, of course. Just a little bit of aesthetic. Something beautiful to look at. Second place, however, is going to be under fire. And that second place is the 88 of Sean Butler. Well, moving to third now. He lets the 10 of Tim Blum go ahead. Pit stops will be a factor in this race. It's just a matter of when it becomes a factor. That's Sean Butler having issues. I was a bit worried for myself there for a few moments. Connection issues on the end of Sean Butler, but he is still sticking in. See Patrick Orr just trying to reel in a 12 of Long, but it's not working for the time being. I believe just up ahead there's a little bit of a battle as well between Oldani and Buckley. At least there was for a few moments, it seemed. Well, there might be at this rate. Buckley in the Toyota, Oldani in the Ford Mustang. Just trying to peek to the inside off turn number 2. It's not going to happen for the time being. Looks like Oldani is just going to stick with the inside lane there. Well, he may be getting to the inside lane. Maybe not. Nothing that time around. So Sean Butler is starting to fade back from first place just a little bit. But remember, this happened before, if I can recall correctly, at Lime Rock Park. Meanwhile, James Skelton. That's up to Richard Murdoch. I'm starting to get paint schemes confused here. I'm not used to Murdoch having this paint scheme, but Murdoch was to the inside, just like that. He was to the inside of DJ Anderson entering turns 1 and 2. And that's going to be Oldani and Buckley side by side off turn number 4. Just not this time around. There's the 01 of Murdoch trying to find whatever pace that I can, trying to use different lines to catch up to the 51 in the top 5. That battle between Buckley and Oldani is for 8th. That battle continues on for the time being between Buckley and Oldani. We'll be seeing pit stops probably in about 10, 20 laps or so, probably 15 laps to be realistic. Although if some drivers can stretch it out, I'm pretty sure they will be able to. And they will be able to make it to halfway, possibly a one-stop race. You can see how close the 01 of Murdoch is. He's not going to peek to the inside this time around. And right when I say that, he might. He didn't do it on corner entry, but he'll try it now. He's good. Look how close he is to the back bumper. Just zoom out the camera here. That's just even more weird, so. That's just how close the 01 is. He's about that close to the back bumper as we look down. Apparently zooming out was a terrible idea for the camera angle. But you can see the 01 of Murdoch. He's not really trying to make any moves. He's just sitting behind the 51 of Anderson. And right when I say that, he moves to the inside. This is for position 5 here off turn number 4. Can Murdoch get past on the inside lane? We'll find out. Nope, gets right back behind and back onto the inside lane. Trying to somehow advance his position early on in this race. Look at how high that 51 is running, almost into the outside wall. That will go to the advantage of the 01. But how much, though? Because that 51 of Anderson is holding on strong on that top side. Oh, into the outside wall goes the 51 of Anderson. That's going to move Murdoch up to 5th. That time by the start-finish line. And unfortunately, that's going to cause a little bit of damage for the 51 of DJ Anderson. Possibly a little bit of steering damage as well, can't tell. Doesn't look like it from his in-car. Meanwhile, Eric Johnson starting to close the gap back in the Budweiser paint scheme. And just at the top of the screen there, you saw Ryan O'Donnell take a little bit of a wide exit. He's backed off, essentially. Lost a little bit of space between himself and that 2 of Joshua Buckley, who's just in front of him in that second yellow car. That yellow Toyota Camry. Well, yellow and black, I should say. As far as the main lead goes, well, it's Max Terrio, and he has been in the lead for what's now going to be 15 laps at the start-finish line. Took over at about lap 10. Lap 9 coming to lap 10. And you can see that it definitely shows for the time being. As Tim Blum and Sean Butler, they're going to be battling it out for the second place position here in a few moments. That just depends if Sean Butler can catch up, however. The thing is, when will he be able to catch up? That is the main question. That battle between Oldani and Buckley is still ongoing for the most part, but Oldani is not really doing much. He's just really hanging back for the time being. Kyle Souza is the first driver. No, Leo Bordage, sorry, is the first driver to head into pit road for the time being out of... Actually, no, it was Kyle Souza. He just left pit road, I think. He's 1 lap down now. But Leo Bordage is now the first driver to get into pit road. Anyone else blink and head to pit road this early on? Possibly not. Doesn't look like it. That battle for second still ongoing between Tim Blum and Sean Butler. Well, more this way, I believe you could actually just call it a brewing battle at this point. Since, there really isn't much going on right now. There's a little bit of a distance between. Not a lot, but not a little either. DJ Anderson's still trying to hold off Eric Johnson. He's tried to hold off Richard Murdoch, but ever since Murdoch got by, Anderson has been falling back. And right now it's going to be Johnson coming up high on the top side for position number 6 here on the racetrack. And, well, Eric Johnson and DJ Anderson, they're 4th and 5th respectively in the point standings coming into this race. And they're 5th and 6th on the racetrack. Sorry, 6th and 7th on the racetrack. And right now, it looks like that dominance just a little bit over Eric Johnson shows. I believe Skelton had gotten into the wall. Sorry, Murdoch may have gotten into the outside wall. Not sure about that, but yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit of damage. We'll see. Yeah, he definitely hit the wall there. Second, 2 drivers that had to pit road, Christopher Rothrock and William Long. Their second drivers to blink and head to pit road for the time being, so they really couldn't stretch it out much. Could be a 2-stop race at this point, because this could actually work out for William Long, as he's now on lap 30 with 61 laps to go. Second drivers to head to pit road, more drivers, pretty much everyone's headed to pit road at this point. Max Terrio, James Skelton, Richard Murdoch, DJ Anderson, Ryan O'Donnell, Joshua Buckley, and Patrick Orr all headed to pit road. Now the drivers that are out here, Tim Blum, Sean Butler, Brendan Minto, Andy Lee, Kevin O'Brien. And that is it. That's your top 6. Will they head to pit road? Yes, they will. Connection issues a little bit for the 88. You can see how soon you have to brake for pit road, those yellow cones. Johnson heads into pit road. Minto, Lee, and O'Brien. O'Brien decides to stay out. So he's going to lead at the line. Oh, it's Tim Blum. He got past the start-finish line in pit road, so that's going to be Tim Blum leading his second lap of the race. Oh no, Kevin O'Brien got into the outside wall, ran just a little bit too high on the racetrack. And unfortunately for that 184, he'll have to come into pit road way too early, and unfortunately with damage that he for sure will not want to really try and repair at this rate. Excuse me. Well, as Kevin O'Brien heads into pit road, it will be Max Theriault taking over the top spot here on the racetrack. As Kevin O'Brien had gotten by at the start-finish line just that time around. So Kevin O'Brien gets a little bit of an advantage. With that one lap led. Unfortunately for Christopher Rothrock, however, he's on the worst end. He's going to be about a lap down in a few moments. As Kevin O'Brien just gets out of pit road. Go through your field and head double wide so you don't really miss anything, just in case anything does happen. But of course, here in first place is the number 42 of Max Theriault. It's been a while since he's been a little bit of a decent run. Being taken away by Sean Butler, as Tim Blum is in second place. Your pole sitter, not doing too bad here on his start. Same with Sean Butler, not doing too bad either. Just one position less from where he started. He is currently in third. Fourth place is Kyle Souza after starting in 10th place. James Skelton didn't really go anywhere. He is fifth. Richard Murdoch is 6th. 7th place, DJ Anderson. 8th place is William Long. 9th place, Eric Johnson. Top 10, rounded out by the 2 of Joshua Buckley. As we have Ryan Oldani in 11th. 12th place, Brandon Minto. 13th goes to Patrick Orr. 14th, directly behind him, will be Andy Lee. 15th, Leo Bordage. 16th is going to be Christopher Rothrock. 17th, soon to be one lap down, unfortunately, and your last driver on the lead lap for the time being is Kevin O'Brien. So that is the rundown that we have for the time being. Well, we're going to go double wide here in just a few moments' time, as this is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network with the Kentucky regular season finale here. 90 laps. After starting in 4th place, Max Theriault is first. Tim Blum, of course, he started first as well. Sorry, Max Theriault in first after starting in 4th. Tim Blum, well, he started first. He's currently second. Sean Butler, your winner of 6 weeks in a row, could have his win in jeopardy here in a few moments by the end of this race. We'll find out what happens after this. This is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network with the Red Light Scrambler Series here in the Xfinity cars. We'll see who advances in the top 12 after this race. Don't go anywhere.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Back live here at Kentucky Speedway with the final race, essentially, of the regular season, halfway in just one lap's time. Well, less than a lap. As well, for the past 32 laps, Max Terrio has been in the lead, putting Sean Butler in his place. But not only Sean Butler, but Tim Blum, who is also in second. But if you look at your ticker at the top of the screen, driver names in green, they were inside the top 10. Look at this. Your entire top 9 drivers at the moment are in the top 12. Ryan O'Donnell, we have that's actually out at this rate, or projected to be out. I think it's just Ryan O'Donnell. And Kevin O'Brien. So we have Ryan O'Donnell and Kevin O'Brien. Those are 11 of your 12 drivers. That means someone did not show up. We're going to do a cross-check here. Sean Butler, Tim Blum, Terrio Johnson, DJ Anderson is here. Skelton is here. William Long, Souza, Bordage, I believe is also here. O'Donnell, O'Brien. I think everyone's here, actually. Man, it's everybody. Unless I left somebody off the spreadsheet by mistake. We're going to double-check that. Nonetheless, drivers that are outside are slowly starting to make their way up here throughout the field. That being Joshua Buckley, to see is currently 9th. And same with Ryan O'Donnell, or Brendan Minto, actually. Both these drivers are out, essentially. And, yeah, I still have somebody off the spreadsheet by mistake. That is my apologies. But we should have Sean Butler, Tim Blum, Max Terrio, Eric Johnson, DJ Anderson. Hold on, actually go cross-check this with drivers that are on the track at the moment. So, as a double-check this, we have... Actually, no, we're not going to cut away from this. And this is going to be quite interesting. With damage on his front bumper, that is the 98 of Ryan O'Donnell. Back bumper damage as well to Joshua Buckley. That could have been from pit road contact. And I would not doubt that whatsoever. But drivers we have here, we have Sean Butler, we have Tim Blum, we have Max Terrio, who are all reverse order of where they were coming to this race, by the way. There's Butler, Blum, and Terrio. Now it's on track, Terrio, Blum, and Butler. We have Eric Johnson, DJ Anderson. Also, we're missing somebody. Quite physically missing somebody. Let's see. We have Terrio, Blum, Butler. Let's go look at the ticker through this one. Skelton, Murdoch, Anderson. Long, Johnson, Buckley. Skelton. So we have Skelton here. We have Murdoch. We have Anderson. Skelton, Murdoch. We have Anderson. William Long, 8th. Eric Johnson, we do have somewhere. There he is, 4th in points. Joshua Buckley is not in. So we should have Bordage, I believe. He's out of this race, but I don't believe he was entered in the spreadsheet. He was not entered in the spreadsheet. So it's Bordage as the last driver in the top 12. One of your last drivers in the top 12. 10th place in the point standings. Apologies for that. Leo Bordage, although, is pretty much out officially at this point. I mean, there's really nothing you can do. Because he is sitting in pit road. Pretty much has been for a while, actually. He's coming back out on track now. He's 2 laps down. He's officially out at this point. So Bordage is pretty much done for. So drivers that may have a chance could be Minto, Rothrock, and Orr. And we'll see who the final 4 drivers are on your point standings. We have Leah Bordage, Ryan O'Donnell, and Kevin O'Brien. Someone's tied, actually, for a position here. Nope, look at this wrong. Sorry, final 4 drivers here. Apologies for this. Final 4 drivers are Kyle Souza, Leo Bordage, Ryan O'Donnell, and Kevin O'Brien. Should mark the last 4 in my defense, but other than that, everyone should be good to go at this point. Drivers that are home free at this point are, well, multiple. So, unfortunately, Bordage is officially out. Buckley could have a chance. Oh, yeah, now Buckley should be fine. He's 7th place on the racetrack. 13th coming into this race. And he was only 1 point out. So Buckley has a chance here to get in. Apologies for that, a little bit of a scramble. I had to get the information together and cross-check that for a few moments. Meanwhile, Max Terrio has been in the lead for almost half of the race. That's quite interesting to see. He has 3 more laps to go, and he's only 24 laps on his current stint. And Sean Butler hasn't really been able to catch him, neither has Tim Blum. They're 4.5 seconds back, almost 5 seconds back now. And there's the gap being shown on screen, almost quite literally. That's absolutely impressive. So Max Terrio could be breaking the winning streak if he does play his cards right. He's played it right the last time around. The last time he did pit stops. He just needs to stretch this out for about 5, probably 6 more laps. And he should be fine. He's on 25 laps now. 25 laps on his current stint. Coming to lap number 26 this time around. And he should be good to go. Almost half of the race has been led as well by him, so again, there is a chance. Just like there's a chance between Buckley and O'Donnell. They have not left each other this entire race, by the way. But look at this. Brendan Minto is going to try and join in on this battle. He's trying to use that top side to his advantage, and right now it's working, but at the same time it really isn't. Running on board with the 25 of Andy Lee. You can hear how much he's using this throttle as well. Look at that top side. O'Donnell's going to slide up the track just a bit. He had to back off there. Look at this, Minto all over the back bumper of the 2, finally goes to the outside. Buckley tries to save that position. Does not want Minto to get by him. And the reason for that is, if you look at the ticker, Brendan Minto and Ryan O'Donnell, they're both in, Brendan Minto and Joshua Buckley, they're both labeled in red. That means they were out of this race coming in. We'll revise the playoff ticker after this race to be a little bit more clear and concise. Other than that, Joshua Buckley still hangs on to that 9th place position for the time being. Murdoch has dropped back, and he's trying to get by Eric Johnson here for 5th. I believe it's the first time as well you can see Murdoch still has that right front damage on his car after hitting the wall earlier on in this race. As we have 30 laps to go, Sean Butler had to blink early. He heads to pit road with 31 laps to go. Max Terrio, however, still on the racetrack. Same with Tim Blum. James Skelton also on the racetrack. William Long and Brendan Minto are the next 2 to head to pit road, so they won't be the only ones. Terrio stays out. Tim Blum, I should go double check. Yep, Terrio does stay out for sure. Tim Blum, he stays out. Will Skelton head to pit road? He will this time by. 30 laps to go. Over half of the race has been led. And the caution's out for the first time. I believe that was for the 01 of Murdoch, who was just, yep, there he goes around again. Will he head to pit road? Oh, no, he will not. Turns it away from pit road. As the first caution is out, that could change pretty much everything here. For the drivers that are already in pit road, that saves them just in time. First caution out of the night, just past halfway. With 30 laps to go as well. We'll see what happened here on this replay. And, Souza just did not expect him to check up at all. The caution was out for that. Souza just did not see him checking up whatsoever. We'll take an onboard ride along here with the 4 of Souza. See what he sees. He just allowed the throttle. He saw it, but he just didn't do anything. Actually, I'm not sure if that was the cause of the actual caution, but I'm going to double check that really quickly. Apologies for the black screen here for a few moments. And it looks to be, yeah, that was the cause of the caution. So, caution is out for the first time. Will it be the only time is the question. As we head back live. So drivers that are now in pit road are your top 4. Max Terrio, Tim Blum, Eric Johnson, and DJ Anderson. He's a little ways behind. Andy Lee is having a little bit of complications, letting a few drivers by. That's going to be Ryan O'Donnell, Patrick Orr, Joshua Buckley, and Andy Lee. Also in pit road. DJ Anderson's got a little bit of a problem here. I think he's detected being in his pit stall. Oh, he wasn't being shown in his pit stall. I think there was a little bit of a bug with the pit stop. That caused the 51 to not get serviced. That could cost him. He does have a huge number of positions to go back on, to fall back with. He was 5th place in the points coming into this race, so he could be fine. Oh, we won't know until after the race, until everything is official. So as for the race itself, we are currently under caution again for the first time tonight. Lights will remain on for the pace car. So we're just going to sit back and ride along the pace car here for the rest of the caution. As 17 drivers are still on the racetrack in some fashion. And no one has retired early on in this race. So the lights are out on the pace car here. We'll be going green with 25 laps to go. Max Terrio leads, Eric Johnson second, and a bit of a shocker here is that Sean Butler all the way back in 12th place. So this could maybe positively give the win to other drivers here. We'll find out what happens here. Green flag about to fly as the pace car is off the racetrack. There it is. Green flag is out. 25 laps to go at the line. And Tim Blum is not going to give Max Terrio a break. Neither is Eric Johnson on the top side. But look at this. Johnson going to make a crossover move down to the inside. Almost makes contact with the 42 there. Eric Johnson, again, he's tried to play spoiler a few times. He couldn't get it to work. Same with Tim Blum. He's tried to play spoiler. He's going to try and battle for second place. Everyone's scrambling side by side. Down the front straightaway they go into turns 1 and 2 once again for the 67th time tonight. And quickly single file goes the top 3 as far as everybody else. It is just a massive battle here. For 4th place, 5th place actually. DJ Anderson just peeks out ahead on the top side. And I think that's Kevin O'Brien on the top side. You saw him just at the top of the screen there. He was falling back on the top side. He may be on low tires. Well, he's not. He's got problems for sure, though. Look at Tim Blum on top of the back bumper of Eric Johnson here. On top of the back bumper of Eric Johnson in turns 1 and 2. The top 3 are all Chevys. Top side goes to the 10. Almost makes contact with Tim Blum off turn 4. Almost makes contact with Eric Johnson off turn 4. Sorry. As Tim Blum moves to the top side, it's going to be 22 laps to go here. Blum makes the crossover down to the inside lane. And, well, the only driver in the top 3 here to not win a race, well, the only driver in the top 3 to win a race, I should say, is Max Terrio. He's currently in first. That was the first race of the season, and he's locked himself into the playoff ever since that first race. Now, the thing is, though, no one else has gotten that chance. Everyone else has just been in on points and not really secured for sure. Ryan O'Donnell, DJ Anderson, they'll be battling side by side here in a few moments if they choose to do that. And you can see Anderson, he doesn't have any front end damage. Ryan O'Donnell and Buckley, they made contact earlier on in this race. Not sure when, to be honest, but they made contact earlier on. Joshua Buckley does have a little bit of back end damage. If we take a look on board, there's the damage on number 2. Hard shot. That thing is caved in. Almost got a little bit more because that 981 Patrick Orr is on top of the back bumper of that number 2. And Joshua Buckley could be in by this point, just 2 points. Look at that. William Long trying to dive down to the inside. He's not even on the lead lap. He's actually lapped down. Top 10 is on the lead lap. 11th on back, R lap down. And that one being Sean Butler. He is 1 lap down. And that was from the caution and the timing of the caution as well. So for the moment, this for sure puts Butler out of the running for the lead and the race win here tonight. For the first time in 6 weeks, it could be somebody else. As far as Johnson and Blum are concerned, it's going to be one of those 2 drivers because they keep battling for second place. 0.8 seconds behind Terrio. Oh man, cuts off the nose of the number 10 there. Somehow, Tim Blum is hanging on. But they keep losing. The longer these 2 go side by side, the longer and the bigger chance they get to lose the race lead. Or rather, the less of a chance, I should say, they get to race for the lead. And for the moment, you can see Tim Blum just right up against the back bumper, pretty much going to bump draft the 33 down the back straightaway. 16 laps to go. This is not for the lead, by the way. This is for second place, but this is also for position. 6th place, Patrick Orr snuck his way through. How great would it be for Patrick Orr to... Well, never mind. I was about to say how great it would be for Patrick Orr to really secure a spot. And then Joshua Buckley moved to the inside. And then James Skelton moved to the inside of Joshua Buckley. So this is just hectic overall. This is impressive, though. Joshua Buckley and Patrick Orr are the only two drivers in this small little group to really be outside of the outside the running for the top 12 in the championship points. Everyone else, well, that's a little bit of a spreadsheet issue over on my end, but look at that. Joshua Buckley put 2 tires below the yellow line. That's fine, but on the side note, though, that loosened up his tires, that loosened up the grip, and it's going to send these 4 drivers back ever so slightly. Richard Murdoch, as far as he's concerned, well, he's going to try and run that out as much as possible. Meanwhile, back to second place. It's settled out for the time being, but it's a little bit too late now because Max Terrio has gained a little bit of time. Right when I say that, I see the time decrease by about a tenth. It's fluctuating for sure, however. 1.2 seconds currently separates himself and Tim Blum for the lead. 6 laps to go and the caution comes out. The race is essentially over. Now the thing is, can Tim Blum catch up in time is my only question. Look at the previous lap times right on the right-hand side of their names, of these drivers' names. We'll see what the lap times comes across as. 32.627 versus a 32.655, so relatively equal lap times, just by about 0.03 seconds off. It's the only difference separating both of these drivers from the lead. Or should I say separating both of these drivers from each other. Meanwhile, as for everyone else, well, they finally settled out. Patrick Orr has finally gotten in front of Joshua Buckley. Spaced out just a little bit. Richard Murdoch trying to get on the inside for 8th place, but it's not going to work right now. Still trying to get down to the inside, and he may get that inside lane. Nope, decides to fall back behind that number 2. 11 laps to go. It's going to be interesting to see what plays out here in these final few laps. Going down below the line here is legal, essentially. That's not the double yellow line rule. I mean, it is in the travel, and everyone does at these at this style of a track for Kentucky. Look at that. From that move alone, and that run and the momentum that he got through turns 1 and 2, Richard Murdoch may finally be able to advance his position in front of Buckley. Putting a little bit of a statement out there saying, well, you're not going to get into the top 10 without a fight, or the top 12, I should say, without a fight. Taking the defensive line over in the tri-oval, it's fine for the time being. Meanwhile, Joshua Buckley has that 20 of Brendan Minto right on top of the back bumper. That is his teammate as well. At least I believe that is. I may be way incorrect on that one. I'm way incorrect on that one. Apologies. So Sean Butler still in 11th on the back bumper of the 98 of Ryan O'Donnell, who was lead lap in 4th place. So you could give that a little bit of a relative sense of where Sean Butler would have ended up if he was on the lead lap. Maybe a little bit of a higher positioning, but we'll never know since, of course, he's for the first time at the moment not really in line to really win this race for the time being. However, the 42 of Max Terrio is, He's on the roll with it right now for the time being, and he has been pretty much ever since lap 10. Leading more than half of the race, finally trying to show off who else is better. And again, Terrio hasn't gotten a win since the first race of the season. This is the last race of the regular season before we head into the playoffs next week at Talladega for 65 laps. And for the time being, 7 laps to go. Look at that, 71 laps led out of 90 laps here for tonight. I'm currently 81 on the start-finish line right now. We're now 85 laps into this race. With 6 laps to go, 72 laps led to Terrio. Absolutely dominant performance. It's absolutely impressive in his own right. As far as Suzu and Minto are going, however, well, they're battling against each other, trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do, because they're going to go 3 wide almost in turn number 2. And they almost did. Trying to hang on. Well, Joshua Buckley's not even involved in this battle. However, Kyle Suzu and Brendan Minto, they're in their own little battle. 5 laps to go this time around. You can see William Long in the green name he is in. Brendan Minto is not. And William Long is all the way over here in the entry of turn 3. And Brendan Minto just now got to, so that corner separates those two drivers. And Minto's hopes could be slipping away. That's something we'll just have to figure out. Sean Butler's still trying to make his way up track position-wise, but as far as actual positions, well, it's unfortunately going to mean nothing for him. Just caught with bad luck at the caution when trying to go to pit road. It's actually a lap down when the caution came out, so that's the reason for him being a lap down. But nonetheless, though, 3 laps to go here for Max Terrio. 75 laps led. At the end of this race, he will have led 78 laps. Laps winding down for the number 42. And I think for Patrick Orr, he should be fine. He should be on points in this race. He's currently scored 7th on the racetrack. He came into this race about 13th in the point standings. So he could be good to go. It's something we'll just have to find out, hopefully by the end of this broadcast. So that's something we'll have figured out. But nonetheless, for Max Terrio, however, it's been a long 6 weeks, long 7 weeks, I should say, for Max Terrio. 7 weeks without a win, always finishing at least the top 3, maybe even top 5. Basically always finishing second in a sense to Sean Butler in the 88. 6 weeks taken over by the 88. The only one that hasn't been taken over was the first race of the season in the Cup Cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That is when Max Terrio got his first win of the season. And he's going to get his second win of the season here to round out the regular season here before the playoffs begin. Max Terrio comes off turn number 4, and he will become victorious for the second time, and once again, for sure, secure a spot into the playoffs at the end of the regular season. Second place goes to Tim Blum. Third place is Eric Johnson. We're going to interview with your top 3 in a few moments. Race is officially over. Andy Lee, unfortunately, has retired. 27 laps to go. Sean Butler's winning streak has been shut down for sure, at least for now. How long can Sean Butler go without winning is going to be the question. He's went 2 weeks so far this season. Max Terrio probably going to do a Polish victory lap here in a few moments. And it looks like he will do just that. So, congratulations to Max Terrio. Tim Blum finished second. Third place is Eric Johnson. We'll get an interview with them in just a few moments' time. Ryan O'Donnell, fourth. Fifth place, James Skelton. DJ Anderson, Patrick Orr, Richard Murdoch, Joshua Buckley, and Kevin O'Brien round out your top 10 here for this race. 11th place is Sean Butler. 12th place, William Long. 13th, Kyle Souza. 14th, Brendan Minto. Christopher Rothrock. 15th, 16th, Leo Bordage. And 17th is Andy Lee. As opposed to a few donuts that he did on the first season, or first race of the season, and parking at the start-finish line, Max Terrio decides to do a little bit of a victory lap here, Polish victory lap, in honor of Alan Kowicki here at Kentucky Motor Speedway. It's going to be a little bit of a long drive here, but definitely worth it. So we'll be back here in a few moments with your top 3 interviews. We're not going to go to commercial. We are just going to go a little bit of a break here, just a little bit, put the logo up and just see how it goes from there. So, oh, nope, now he's doing burnouts. So congratulations to the 42 of Max Terrio once again on his second win of the season. We'll be back here with the top 3 interviews in just a few moments. This is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network at Kentucky Speedway. Back live here at Kentucky Motor Speedway, or Kentucky Speedway, I should say, with the second to, well, we're pretty much the last race of the regular season for sure. I don't believe the 33 of Eric Johnson, I looked right over his name, actually. He is available. Hold on a second. There we go. So we have Eric Johnson standing by here in just a few moments' time. It's going to redo sound settings here in a few moments. But other than that, that pretty much wraps up the race for the season, or the regular series season, I should say. And, well, Eric Johnson in the number 33, finishing appropriately enough in the third place position. Congratulations again, Eric Johnson, on your third place. Well, congratulations, I should say, this week on your third place finish. And, well, how's that race out there for you this week?
That was an interesting race. I figured it was going to be a fuel mileage race from the start, so I'll save it. And I guess the cautions fell in my favor on that last stint and jumbled everything up.
Yeah, that last caution definitely kind of messed with everyone's strategies ever so slightly. So pretty much ever so slightly to the point where pretty much half the field was unfortunately caught pretty much, I believe, a lap down as well. So that is unfortunate. But on the bright side, you were one of the drivers that had to, or that managed to be a little bit lucky there with that. So heading into next week, as I double check your positioning in the point standings just to make sure. Yeah, oh yeah, no, you're more than good. Heading into next week for Talladega and Richmond as well. What are your thoughts for the first round of the chase next week?
it's going to be an interesting one, Talladega. Just cross my fingers and hope I stay out of trouble and go from there.
Hopefully that hopefully that will go for you as well, especially since it's Talladega. It's definitely an interesting race for sure. So I'm gonna see how that goes. And before we let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your third place finish here this week?
Just all the drivers with Red Light Racing, you for broadcasting, and just keep up the good work.
We're gonna go ahead and let you go. Congratulations once again on your third place finish.
Thank you.
So that was Eric Johnson, third place finisher. Congratulations to him once again on that. We're going to head over to the second place finisher, which is the number 10, the driver of the number 10, I should say, and that is Tim Blum, who put up quite an interesting battle I should say, if I can properly speak English here. But other than that, Tim Blum, welcome to the second place positioning. Congratulations on somehow finishing ahead of Sean Butler after all of what had happened. But it's definitely interesting to know that you managed to put up a fight. You did a good job at that as well for finishing up in second place.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good race. I'm tired of finishing second, but Max was he was class of the field tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting for sure. A little bit of a shock win as well, as compared to Sean Butler's previous 6 weeks in a row. But coming into this race, you came in second place in the points, and well, you're pretty much golden from there. So heading into the first round of the chase of not only Talladega but also Richmond, what are you looking ahead for that week? The next 2 weeks, I should say.
Just you got to put two solid races together. Talladega's a big wild card as it always is, and if you can get a decent finish, top 10 finish there, you can hopefully we can have a strong run at Richmond.
Hopefully that will be the case for sure. So before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your second place here tonight?
Yeah, I got a couple. I want to shout out to Eric. I want to nominate him the Ryan Newman of Red Light. He's the hardest guy to pass, but he's always really clean. He's fun to race, and that was a fun little battle there. Congrats to Max, and thanks to my wife. She's watching back at home.
Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go on and celebrate your second place. Congratulations again on your second place finish.
Thanks. See y'all next week.
And finally, the one and the only, the one that somehow, some way managed to, well, actually, no, it's by more cautions and more kind of by luck. But either way, though, somehow, some way, Max Terrio, you managed to finish up in front and ahead of Sean Butler after he put 6 strong weeks on. And somehow, my goodness, I keep saying that way too much, but you did win the first race of the season as well, so there is that. But 6 weeks of stronghold pretty much broken now by you for essentially kind of the second time, or like the first time this season. So how in the heck did you get by Sean Butler after all of those weeks?
Yeah, tonight's race was much different than any other. I think it was all about tire management, and tonight's pre-race practice wasn't really conclusive for me, so I just went ahead and changed my strategy to save as much as I could, and in the end, it made me faster on the medium and long run, so all went good for the rest of the race.
Yeah, definitely went well for sure. So heading into Talladega and Richmond next in the next 2 weeks, well, within the next 2 weeks, what are your thoughts and your strategies for that race or for those races for the first round of the season?
Yeah, I'd like to say that tonight's win hopefully will carry some momentum next week, but Talladega, anything can happen, so we'll just hope for being in the lead pack at the end of the race, have a shot at the win, or at least towards the front. And then it's all about practicing Richmond for an important second race of the first playoff round.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be key for sure. So before we go ahead and let you go celebrate your second race win of the season, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for that tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to say hi to my girlfriend and my friend Max at Max and Knitting. He's sponsoring my car. And well, your broadcasts are always enjoyable to watch on YouTube after races are done. So keep up the good work there.
Thanks. That's actually quite nice. Yeah, it's a lot of effort, but hey, it's fun either way. So we're gonna go ahead and let you go. Congratulations again on your second race win.
All right, thank you, man. Good talking.
So that was Max Terrio. We haven't really spoke with him in. Well, we spoke with him. We haven't spoke with him after he finished first within the past, what, 6 weeks essentially. So it's been a long month and 2 weeks basically. So congratulations again to Max Terrio on his win for this season. Although before we sign off, we just want to remind you about the upcoming races here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network, which is, if I can find it here, my goodness, New Hampshire. For the Field Jetstream Media IndyCar Series heads to New Hampshire for 150 laps. That's going to be an interesting race for sure. No picture available for this, but on Sunday, a new league joins the Racing Line Broadcasting Networks as Sundays are now being taken over by the Flat Out Racing League. They head to Daytona for their 10-season race. It's not going to be 10 weeks. It will be 10 weeks, but it's not going to be 10 weeks in a row. So stay tuned for that. The races are already set up on the channel as well, so you can go ahead and set that up as a reminder to be prepared, and I'll just go ahead and check that out when you're actually interested in seeing whatever else we have in store. So we thank you for watching this race. And we congratulate Max Terrio once again on his second win of the season. And actually, just before we sign off, because I just now remembered, we're going to hold off just a bit. Yep, okay, so points are now official. Points are actually just now been official. They just now been set. So your top 12, just before we sign off, apologies for that, heading into Talladega, we have, if I can find the standings, so we have advancing Sean Butler, Max Terrio, Tim Blum, Eric Johnson, DJ Anderson, James Skelton, Richard Murdoch, William Long, Ryan O'Donnell, Kyle Souza, Leo Bordich, and Kevin O'Brien. Joshua Buckley missed the, by 1 point. Joshua Buckley missed the top 12 by 1 point. Oh, man. Well, Patrick Orr missed the top 12 by 7 points. I'm looking at the wrong setting here. Hold on a second. Behind Patrick Orr missed it by 8 points, and missing by 18 points is Christopher Rothrock. So an interesting race for sure, and Talladega is going to be quite interesting. So we'll see who is going to be eliminated and who survives down to the Final Four at Atlanta. We will see you next week. Actually, no, we'll see you this Thursday for the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series, but until then, we will see you next week for the Red Light Scrambler Series here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Good night from Kentucky.